process, I really didn't like this work-based learning approach. I didn't get it. I couldn't see why we were doing all this reflective writing. It just seemed like a pain in the neck to me, and I didn't think I was going to get anywhere with it. As it progressed, it didn't get any better. Or whatever. Okay, so that's what I like. What I learned overall was that, that the application of a work-based learning method for me worked quite well. I also learned that the use of reflective journals may be quite a good way of developing, and I learned quite a lot about reflective writing. What difference has it made? What I now find is that I've become more reflective in my activities and the processes through which I go. I also use analytical tools quite a lot more, and am minded to look at external sources. And then, what difference has it made? Overall, the work-based learning has made a considerable difference to the project that I've delivered, but also the way that people around me have made a work with. I can point to some considerable successes, including right. So that's the overall one. So what I'm saying, once you've written the 12 layers in the, it's like a mille-feuille cake. You've got a series of small layers. You've got 3 lots of cream, and then you've got a load of sugar around the outside.
Why was there an asterisk next to number 3?
No particular reason.
Oh, okay, that's fine.
All right. Does that make sense? Now, what you'll one of the things that you'll see when we look at the examples is to the extent to which people have done this. Part of that is actually the extent to which we've told people to do it. So what I'm showing you here is good practice. What it will do is it will actually. The point about doing this whole exercise is, apart from pulling it together for the final presentation, which is an important element of this, you will learn something from this. You will learn something from this exercise. You might not learn something from each of these individual sections, although you might do. You probably look more likely to learn something from that, and you're just as likely to learn something from this bit. Okay? So don't rush into it. There are, what, 16 individual pieces of work to be done there. Okay? Each of which is likely to... The first ones will take longer than the last, and the first of each of these ones will take longer than the last. Okay? But with those 16 individual pieces of work, you can actually split them down into, I don't know, let's say each of those things was going to take you a quarter of an hour each, say. You could split that down into quarter of an hour bits and say, well, I'm going to do that bit there, that bit there, that bit there, and over the course of how long is it you've got to do it? Yeah? Just a thought. Which then gives you an opportunity to go back and kind of, you know, you're going to bake each of the layers, and then you're going to put the cream in the middle, and then you're going to put the sugar on the outside. Sounds like a real confection, doesn't it? Oh. So that's something that I actually bashed out when I was with the last group, and I thought they said, can you send that through to me? So a copy of that is actually up on Moodle, but it's also just to give you a bit of an insight into which of each of these green sections actually looks like. So what we've got here, personal outcome, that is the outcome, right? It's the one that's in an asterisk. That's that one. Develop time management skills and the ability to plan and prioritise work. What the first learning plan objective was, cut and paste. What the updated objective was, cut and paste. Brief introduction to the section. You don't need in each section to say, I've used Kirkpatrick, because you're going to say that in here. And then you'll note what I liked, what I learned, how this has changed what I do, the difference it's made to me, the people around me in my project.
For each single one.
For every single
that's
one.
fine.
Right? And as I said earlier on, I know you're individuals. But if you do that, what you're actually doing is disciplining yourself to make sure that by getting to this one, and by the way, doing it right, you're getting to 20-odd% marks for each piece, which actually means that you're then going to be above merit levels. Right? Very simply, very straightforwardly, if every single one of yours looks like that, and you've got to that down there, what difference has it made? You will be getting there or thereabouts merit level marks. Right? I can't say it any clearer than that.
I think you've said it, John.
Do you think?
I think you have.
But if you remember, if you quantify it, you'll be nudging them up a little bit further. But be careful when you quantify it, not to try and claim project outcomes without being able to show how your learning has led to those project outcomes. Right? Which so don't start thinking about quantifying it until you get to that bit, and then have the kind of internal debate that we had about John's piece of work. Yeah. If you have somebody that you can bounce these things off, then that's not a bad idea. All right. If you work alongside somebody, I'd make the offer, but you couldn't afford it. Seriously, if you're looking for some guidance about it, then I'm quite happy to stick it on Moodle rather than sending an individual email, because that means that everybody can see it. All right, and I'm not going to get it down and dirty into each individual learning outcome at that kind of level, because it would take forever. And I'm just, I couldn't commit to doing it for everybody with the kind of level that you might want, so I won't. But I'm happy to kind of provide some, if I can see the screen, provide some impact on, provide some discussion and so forth on Google. But don't jump straight from objective to outcome. This bit at the bottom is really important. You need to show learning as well as achievement, because if you don't, then there will be some evidence in there, but that evidence will be very limited, so therefore your marks will be around 5, 10 for each of the outcomes, right? So something that's operational will just about pass. That's why it's really important to go through each of these steps. All right? Okay, now, so any questions on the learning outcomes? So just to be very pedantic, we're really clear, this is where all the marks come in.